Episode 2, The Eighth Child. Welcome to my end of the world again, the Appalachian Mountains. Albert Tipton Winters was born around 1849 or 1850. He was the eighth child of 16. Before the railroads came, before the logging engines made their way through the hollers, the Winters family had already been here for some time. By the time Albert Tipton Winters was born, the Winters homestead was overflowing. 7 children had come before him: Mary Jane, Sarah, Eleander, William Jr., Daniel, Wilbur, Clayton, Melinda, and little Martha. Wow, that's a lot of kids. This wasn't the isolated frontier of the 1700s anymore. This was a growing Appalachian South. Small farms, rough cabins, and families working the land with their own hands. The Winters lived the old way, cornfields carved out of the hillside, and there was a spring house for milk, a smokehouse for meat, and a cabin warmed by a stone hearth that never truly went cold. Albert wasn't the oldest, but he wasn't the baby either. He was right in the middle of a family that would eventually grow to 16. The older boys were already helping in the fields. They were splitting rails, hunting, tending livestock, and the older girls kept the home running by cooking, washing, and raising the young'uns. And behind Albert came a whole second wave of siblings: George, Carrick, Nelson, Charles, Martin, Elizabeth, Harriet, Ellen, Nathaniel, and John. He stood between the two worlds. He was old enough to remember the quiet years before the war, and young enough to witness the mountains begin to change. Life in the 1850s Appalachians was simple, but it wasn't easy. Families lived off the land. Every hand mattered. Every season demanded work. Albert grew up in the world of creek water, wood smoke, and the steady rhythm of farm life. He learned to read the weather by the clouds, the time by the sun, and the mood of the mountains by the way the wind moved through the trees. He wasn't loud, and he wasn't demanding. He was a watcher, the kind of child who saw things that others overlooked. Albert was one of them. He noticed when the creek ran lower than it should, when the birds went silent, when the woods felt different, and the mountains spoke their own way. Through the crackle of the hearth, the groan of the cabin logs, the hush that settled over the ridge at dusk. And Albert listened. He didn't know it yet, but the world around him was shifting. Railroads were coming, logging engines would soon scream through the hollers, and iron mines would open. Tourists would even climb Rome Mountain looking for clean air and wonder. But for now, in Albert's childhood, the mountains were still and mostly quiet, still wild, still watching, and soon the mountains would answer back.